I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The time is always right to do what is right. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. Nobody can give you freedom. It is something you must take. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. Everything that is done in the world is done by hope. Forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is a permanent attitude. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great, a burden to bear. Peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. A riot is the language of the unheard. The quality, not the longevity, of one's life is what is important. We must build dikes of courage to hold back the flood of fear. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns. Every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. We are not makers of history. We are made by history. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. One day, we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. We must use time creatively in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right. No one really knows why they are alive until they know what they'd die for. Human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. A time comes when you get tired of being dragged so far down the path of humiliation. Law and order exist for the purpose of establishing justice. One who breaks an unjust law must do so openly, lovingly. There is nothing more majestic than the determined courage of individuals willing to suffer and sacrifice for their freedom and dignity. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. True humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. Justice too long delayed is justice denied. There can be no deep disappointment where there is not deep love. Without community, there is no liberation. Love is the only force capable of turning an enemy into a friend. Let no man pull you so low as to hate him. We must see that human progress never rolls in on wheels of inevitability. Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral conflict. Forgive the person who angered you, but don't forget what they did. We must combine the toughness of the serpent and the softness of the dove. Every great advance in human history has issued from a new audacity of imagination. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom. We must never forget that everything Hitler did in Germany was legal. Shameful is a race of people that has to resort to lynching to solve its problems. Will we be extremists for hate or for love? The moral arc of the universe bends at the elbow of justice. In true dialogue, both sides are willing to change. We must go on to win rights that others have signed away. Those who love peace must learn to organize as effectively as those who love war. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. There is nothing more powerful than a community discovering what it cares about. Without justice, peace is a distant dream. We must face the fact that tomorrow is today. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus. He is a molder of consensus. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. We must stand up to injustice, but also stand up for justice. We need to build bridges of love, not walls of hate. The hope of a secure and livable world lies with disciplined nonconformists. We must refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must meet hate with love. No lie can live forever. We must keep moving to the end. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. We must cease to advertise our differences and instead proclaim our common humanity. The dignity of the individual is the foundation of a democratic society. Nonviolence is a powerful and just weapon. The struggle is never about grapes and stuff. It is always about people. We must be willing to accept finite disappointment but never lose infinite hope. Justice too long delayed is justice denied. Somebody's got to hand a lighted torch at midnight to the next generation. We must bear the cost of protest if we want to achieve justice. We will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. We must use time creatively and forever realize that the time is always ripe to do right. To be a Christian without prayer is no more possible than to be alive without breathing. We must love our children more than we hate our enemies. We must translate our lofty ideals into concrete deeds. Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men.